The best thing that could happen for my worldview is to literally take Trump right now, put him up against the wall, and execute him via firing squad. That would be the best. And of course, as soon as I looked, it was like guilty, as predicted. I put it at 85% chance of guilty, 15 at hung jury, because I thought there might be one holdout. But I overarchingly knew that it was going to be a guilty verdict. So I did a little TikTok video and then decided I'll come stream a little early. Strike while the iron's hot. People have to hear Rob's opinion on this. It's no surprise. We talked about this before, how sometimes stories will break and people in my audience and people like me and people that sort of follow the same information than I do will say, that's not new information. We've known that forever. Such as the Twitter files. There was a lot in the Twitter files that people are like, we already knew this. But what was unique about it was that it was then shown in such a definitive way that even normies would be able to see. Even the normal person could, oh, okay. So it's one thing to have Alex Jones say, I've seen papers that show that the military and the FBI and CISA was working with social media to censor posts. Like, that's one thing. But then when you have actual, and I'm not discrediting Alex Jones at all. I like Alex Jones. But then when you have actual reporters release that information in a thorough investigation, it's sort of a different thing. That's what today represents. Today represents, I hope, the clearest example and the most brazen example of what I've been talking about in politics my whole adult life, but certainly since I've been live streaming. To the point where it's boring to hear me say this now. I'm a single issue voter. That issue is corruption. That is the most important issue, because if you don't have a voice and if unelected bureaucrats and institutions working in tandem can corruptly destroy our country and your voice and pick and choose the candidates, then we don't really have a country. Right? That's what I've said over and over and over and over and over again. Now, my audience I can't criticize very much, but the Republicans I deal with, particularly at the state level, they look at me like, oh, that Rob, sure, corruption. Sure. Maybe old Joe, we'll see. Sure. Well, here we are. Now, what the left has going for them, the corrupt institutions, the establishment, what they have going for them is they kept cameras out of the court. And we talked about this yesterday as well, the effect that has. By keeping cameras there, in effect keeping cameras out of there, in effect what happens is this. Oftentimes, if you go to the direct source material, you'll find stuff that maybe even people that you really like that were reporting on it didn't catch or didn't think was a big point. And you yourself as an individual might say, oh, wow, that's a big deal to me. I didn't hear Rob say that. I didn't hear Tucker say that. I didn't hear DeSantis say that. But here I am reading this. I think it's a big deal. I do that all the time. Because they didn't have cameras in there, what that allows people to do is whoever controls the narrative wins, because the individual person has no way of reading. They're just going to listen to people. We talked yesterday, I was even talking to Sparky about how sort of the people on our side are not good at winning that public narrative. Partially because the scale's so tilted, all of these establishment institutions are so on board. So your mainstream media, your social media, every place except X, which is why they hate Elon Musk and they'll go after him. Yeah, Sparky, that's a good way of putting it. It's like any other day, just more transparent. So we're unable then to see with our own eyes, and we have to rely on what other people say. And the establishment is betting that because they'll have all their CNN talking heads and their MSNBC and the New York Times, and, Robert De Niro will be out there saying, they'll sit out there and they control the narrative. And the left's reaction is going to be exactly what you see. I already saw Pisco put up his little dancing Snoopy emoji that he always puts in. And you'll see people like, yeah, he's guilty. We know, bro. Let's do your tears. No tears here. I told everyone Donald Trump was my third choice for president, for candidate, I guess, for the Republican Party. The best thing that could happen for my worldview is to literally take Trump right now, put him up against the wall, and execute him being firing squad. That would be the best thing for my worldview, because it would inspire such a counter uprising of people that would never vote for Democrats again. That would be fine to me. Trump going to prison does not negatively affect my life in any way, shape, or form. I have work tomorrow, or would stay Thursday. I have work Saturday. I'll be there at 10 a.m. My life will continue apace. It doesn't matter. I don't like everything Donald Trump does. I criticize him often. I think the best thing he could have done would have been to not run for office again in 2024 and instead endorse someone like Ron DeSantis or Vivek. To me, that would have been the best thing. I get tired of having to talk about some of the dumb things that Trump says, some of the dumb things he says. We're going to build the FBI, great new building. You know, there's a litany of things all throughout his presidency, his campaign, the past 4 years, that I don't like about Trump. I talk about it quite frequently in the show. My concern has always been a two-tier justice system that uses lawfare and uses our institutions, such as the intelligence agencies, in order to put their thumb on the scale and make sure that there are people that are elected that don't really care about the average person. And the people on the left, like Chewbacca, I'm assuming here, doesn't give a shit about that, because what they accuse me of like, oh, your tears because Trump's going down. I don't really give a shit, right? Good content for me, I guess. I told you so's all around. I was right. It's because their entire political worldview is based on Trump. They hate him. They don't care. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about fairness. They don't care about the legal system. None of that matters. Burn it all down. Orange man bad. That's it. Don't commit crimes you have nothing to worry about. These were the same people. By the way, it's ironic that these are left-wingers and Democrats. They're the same people that said that about the Patriot Act. The government wants to spy on you? Well, if you don't have anything to hide, you shouldn't mind. It's the same thing. They can't defend this. They know that Hillary did worse. They know that. This exact crime, Hillary did worse. They don't care. They're just like, whatever, don't do the crime, dude. So they'll cheer this on, and that's fine. I don't care. The truth is, most of these people aren't happy people. You've seen the online left. You see who they are. You see them in college campuses. You see Robert De Niro. You see those people. You see what the left is. You see what these establishment bootlickers are. They're not happy people. This is their happiness. When I have a moment, like we took my son today to this little like farm. It's like a little mini zoo. We take him all the time. It's here in the big state forest near us. And we took him. And when I see my son walk up to the first baby goat and he goes, oh, I missed you. And he hands my cracker. That gives me this feeling. Like as a father, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. Those moments are moments that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Like those moments like that. It's an amazing feeling. They don't have that. These people don't have that. They don't know what that's like. They don't have, they're hollow people. All they know is that their life is shit. And so they have taken the persona and the identity of my life revolves around Donald Trump and I want to see him taken down. And so this is their moment. Your moment when you walk your daughter down the aisle, when you met your wife, when your child was born, right? Your proudest moment, a moment you had with your parents, you know, where they were proud of you. Those moments in life, those keystone moments that build like a healthy person that you could look back when you're on your deathbed and say, that's what my life was. They don't have those. They have, remember when Trump was found guilty? Now, of course, not all left-wingers are like that, but the ones you see that are in chat rooms right now, like, yes, that's who they are. And you can see it oftentimes when I'm on the panels. I say it all the time. You can see when you're on these panels with these left-wingers. You can see. I have left-wing friends right now. They're not on Twitter like, yes, found guilty. They're not. But these people, that's who they are. There's certainly a lot of left-wingers that actually criticize this trial. Even some of them have been on CNN. So, you know, the idea, it was the same when there was a loss in 2020. Like, you have to understand, from my perspective, everyone in my life politically at the national level that I ever wanted to have won has lost, with the exception of the 2016 election. Every election is me losing. Every single time. Every single time. So the idea that you're going to come on here and be like, oh yeah, your tears today. There are no tears. It's my expectation. I expect that this country will slip further and further into tyranny. Even if Trump wins in 2024, he ain't going to do shit. He ain't going to do nothing about it. Trump gets sentenced July 11th. They'll probably try to sentence him to some jail time.